So what we have is two options to show you tonight. And what we've done is there's going to be a lot of similarities between them because you saw on the master plan with the schematic plan, we sort of arranged the parts and we felt there was a comfort to how the pieces were coming together. And so now it's kind of developing those ideas a little bit, what are actually the components. We'll run through those now, and then we'll kind of get them up side by side so you can look at them. We're going to kind of do a compare and contrast because we want you to make some decisions to help us out with some of these bigger pieces. So just to get oriented, we've shifted a little bit on you. North is now that direction. So this is Roosevelt, and that's right here. And that slope that we talked about with the trees on it that sweeps around this direction. The existing pergola is right here, and there's a little wood stair that cuts through the hedge. Oh, and there's the hedge, so don't forget to mention that. And then also on this side, we have the existing artwork on the poles along the 10-foot fence along that edge. So it's kind of an interesting space. What we wanted to try to do was think about taking advantage of some of the grade, the contour. What could we do to express some of that? What can we do to create opportunities for kids to create their own play? Again, that was the whole idea about the adventure play. And just try to wrap all these things together. The play area itself kind of sits in this area, existing. So we're kind of covering that same footprint. And along this edge, we have a slope that slowly gets to be, let's say 8 or 9 feet, maybe 8 feet in that corner. That takes you from this entrance point, this existing pathway, down to the play surface itself. So we've got a nice slope in here, but we also have some trees that we want to respect. So we didn't want to just go in and take all the trees out and start over. So the majority of what you see, these large green circles are all existing trees. So the idea, you enter into the space where you come in off Roosevelt or you come in off of the path, but you see our big loop path. So there'll be one thing to look at the contrast of the two streams. This one has a loop path that actually takes you around the big lawn space, connects the children's garden with both the built play and kind of the adventure play area. The idea being you've got that trike path, the ride-on toys, let the kids loose on that. The parents, while you're waiting, we've created a little bit of a plaza space here. Again, kind of that central location in the restroom, so you can keep your eye on all the activity but still be part of it. And then there's other places to sit throughout too, other bench locations, and a lot of natural stone has been incorporated. With some of the natural materials, one of the things that we really heard was, I guess what people were describing their experiences, maybe not just locally, but even from around the world kind of experiences. But we thought it'd be interesting to kind of start drawing on our own location for some of the inspiration. And so the stone, the idea that maybe some of the stone, just like the artist has done, he's taken the stones from the Toll River and the Cedar River watershed, but we're thinking stones that could come from the Cascades, the Columbia. So we have all this kind of interesting, some of these might be glacial stones, some of them might be granite boulders, they might be mossy covered, we might have the salt. So this idea of collecting stones from around the state and starting to intersperse in this and creating places for climbing, sitting, hiding, be able to play with some of those things. The idea of a slide or something that takes advantage of the grade, so kind of tucked in that corner, we have a stone stair which allow kids to get up there and have this modest slide down. We're only able to get about maybe 5 or 6 feet there, but still interesting to be able to have that play. Other places to be able to create little spots where kids can get up on the hillside. I mean, that hillside was actually a pretty great start. Some of the shrubs, you've noticed, the kids are able to get in there and under them and things like that. So we want to just really leave as much as we can to enhance it and create some other opportunities. So this idea about maybe using some of the stone and logs to create some places where the kids can actually be up on the hillside. The path itself, the idea that you have kind of a primary path that comes through, but there's these little secondary branches on it. We're always interested in kind of playing with that surface and that texture. Maybe it's the way we score it, the concrete, or maybe it's we put pebbles or other kinds of things interesting so the kids can ride over it. It makes a different sound. And even the fact that a subtle detail, if you see how we space the joints different, as the tires go across, they're farther apart, that we've all heard it on the highway, the freeway. We're not going to play music like we did in that one commercial, but that's the idea, that we get something going on with the path. So enhancing some of these. We have these little places in our sort of braided path, sand as a possibility. Could be a water collection area. Again, if we think about water, just like the artist, these are low areas. You might collect a little bit, you splash in it, sun comes out. When it does, it dries it up, and we don't have any standing water. But that opportunity for something like that. Then kind of moving into the built play area. So we're looking at a younger kids play area. So we've got a kind of a 2 to 5 year old structure age group in there. Structure for a little bit larger kid, a little older kids, not larger kids, but older kids, 5 to 12 year old in this area. Swings. It seemed like people were really interested in the swings, and you've got probably the best collection of swings because you've got the 4-bay with the 10-foot crossbar for the older kids, and you've got a 4-bay with a 8-foot crossbar for the little kids. And so we just thought in this concept we would do that. We would show both sets of swings. So you've got lots of swings out in here. We want to try to duplicate. We love that high crossbar because those are the ones you actually get to have a little bit more fun on. So, kind of tying our plaza together and kind of creating this transition between the built play and the lawn. This whole idea of this braided path, again, this idea of looking at aerial photographs of the state and finding these braided rivers. But these are our braided paths that kind of move through here, and the idea of being able to kind of circulate through the trees. Again, giving the kids different places to play. Some of these might be a sand area. We've actually gone as far to think about some small earthen forms, kind of thinking about the Lima mounds as kind of our inspiration there, but just having some low grassy shapes in there for the kids to use and just kind of create their own play and their own ideas. So again, that's our transition from the built play to the lawn, of course, the large open lawn space. And then kind of focusing up in the corner at the children's garden. So again, this idea of all these braided paths and things, we just thought, what if we were to create some flow-through paths? The structure, the arbor itself is basically it's not basically, but it is actually in its existing location. We probably reset the pavers around it. They're kind of shifted a little bit, so we do a little bit of work there. But the idea is we create some of those ideas that Katie presented about the sunflowers, the bean poles, some of those things. So we have the garden that gets planted in an area like this. And then you have the real hands-on space on this side where the kids get to get dirty. And these might be gravel bins, sand bins, worm bins. So this idea that we have these opportunities for the kids to really kind of get into their gardening and look at themselves. So unique opportunities there. A couple of the things that Katie showed with the committee that's kind of been working with the community council and us a little bit. The idea that on our bike loop or our little super highway around, this could be a location for the bike sculpture, could be over in the children's garden area. And then the idea of the quote either being within the path or maybe even being a special brand that is identified in kind of this gathering space in this closet area. So, restroom largely left alone. You'll see a little bit of a contrast in the next scheme. But I think that's kind of a summary of option 1.